الصبح بدا من طلعته والليل دجى من وفرته है नूर साहिर चेहरे से तेरे और शब की
translating part of the Holy Quran in Libya, opinionated language. I just finished writing a guide for a new Muslim. Thank you as well, Imam Shafi.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. What I've said exactly means, may peace of God and His blessings be with you. Of course, for the readers of the Bible, this is exactly what Jesus said in the book of Luke, chapter 10, verse 5. Don't forget the verse. Jesus said, and if every house you enter, first say, may peace be with you. So what I did, I just twisted it. I just converted it in Arabic and I said, As-salam. Salam means peace. Shalom. Amani in Swahili, Amani. Kwe in my language, alaykum be with you. So again, Assalamu alaikum should not sound strange. May peace be with you. I'm honored to be here. This is not from me. This was decreed. It was predestined by God. Of all is that have been invited here, that is another honor. And of course, I was finding my way here before I was invited. I like visiting churches. I like socializing with all human beings. We are all created by God. Therefore, had I not been invited, I would have come myself. So thank you for inviting me. And may God connect our hearts. May God guide us. May God always show us the right path. I've been given few minutes, because 30 minutes to 55 minutes is never enough. You can see. But I will try to accommodate this 30 or 55 minutes. I will try to accommodate it. Why am I here? I'm here because God the Almighty, known Islam as Allah, has commanded me to be here. God has instructed me to be here in Quran chapter 3 verse 64. Allah, God the Almighty, says, Qul, say Muhammad, tell the world, say, تعالوا إلى كلمة سواء بيننا وبينكم. قل يا أهل الكتاب, say Muhammad to the people of scriptures, those who follow the prophets, Moses, Abraham, Jesus, Noah. Tell them that come إلى كلمة سواء بيننا وبينكم. Invite them to that which is common between you and them. Allah na'budu illa Allah, that we should not worship except one God. وَلَا نُشْرِكَ بِهِ شَيْئًا. As we worship God, we should not ascribe partners to this God. وَأَلَّا نَتَّخِذَ بَعْضُنَا بَعْضًا أَرْبَابًا مِنْ دُونِ اللَّهِ. What is common between us? That a human being will never be God. God is the Almighty, is the All-Powerful. He's above all that He created. He gives life and takes life. Let us not take some creation amongst us and call them gods. This is common between us. فَإِن تَوَلَّوْا, if they turn away, if you invite people to this, let us worship God, and He says, look, I disagree with you. Should we blow them up? One good secret that today I could not carry my bombs with me. I just remember to carry my cell phone. Anyway, terrorism, fundamentalism, right? Killing innocent people is not part of Islam, so we are not going to discuss this today. It's not part of Christianity, it's not part of Judaism. It's not part of any society, any culture, it's not. So I'm not going to discuss it today. When someone doesn't agree with you, you invite him and he doesn't. وَقُولُوا شَهَادُوا بِأَنَّا مُسْلِمُونَ. We Muslims are commanded to tell them that just bear witness that you have some neighbors. In your neighborhood there are Muslims who believe in God as you believe in God. We cannot go further than that. So this is why I'm here. My religion, my faith, faith of God commands me to invite you, or it commands me to come to you. That we talk. We converse. We promote dialogue. We promote tolerance. This is why I'm here. We are more interested in few major points, and I have listed up to 11 in 30 minutes. The first one is Islam and Muslims. What is Islam and who are Muslims? So Islam, we believe that is a religion of God, which God, Allah, bestowed upon His creation from the time He created. We Muslims believe that Adam was a Muslim. This is how we believe. Noah was a Muslim. Abraham was a Muslim. Solomon was a Muslim. Moses was a Muslim. Zachariah was a Muslim. John the Baptist called Yahya was a Muslim. Jesus, we say, was a Muslim. Muhammad was a Muslim, and we are Muslims. Oh, you didn't know about that. You didn't know. This is what we believe. So anyone who submits his will or her will to the will of God, in Arabic is called a Muslim. So Islam is the religion, and Muslims are the followers of Islam. A Muslim. We don't have Muslim, we have Muslim. But we excuse the West. When they say Muslim, we say, we understand. Islam is a religion of God which He bestowed upon His creation. Anyone who submits his will to the will of God, because that is the meaning of Islam, submitting your will to the will of God, you are called a Muslim. The followers of that submission are called Muslims. I can't go further than that. You have questions? I will try to answer. The second point, Muslims and Arabs. Many people have misconstrued, many people have misunderstood the concept of Muslims being a Muslim and being an Arab. These are two different things. An Arab, that is a tribe. It is a culture. It has its tradition. But Islam is Islam. Which means you don't need to be an Arab to be a Muslim. No, you don't need to. What qualifies you to be a Muslim is not being an Arab, not even speaking Arabic. Surprisingly, your brother and your son from Africa is addressing you today about Islam. This is a proof that you don't need to be an Arab to qualify to be a Muslim. Because we have up to 20 million Coptic Arabs in Egypt. 20 million Coptic Christian Arabs in Egypt. We have Christian Arabs everywhere. In Lebanon, we have Christian Arabs. Part of Yemen, we had some few Christian Arabs. Therefore, you don't need to be an Arab to be a Muslim. Everyone, everybody, anyone, if he feels comfortable to be a Muslim, he or she is welcome, regardless of your tribe. So Arabs are Arabs, and Islam is Islam. Muslims are Muslims, and Arabs are Arabs. Just to summarize this, many people thought that Islam belongs to Arabs. So this is the deal. The worst scenario that I ever met. When I dress like this, some of them may say, Bin Laden. Do I look like him? No. Something is missing here then. Right. The reality is this. Arabs only consist, what percentage in Islamic world? 18 to 20%. 18 to 20% of Islamic world. All Arabs together. Majority of Muslims are Indonesian. Majority of Muslims. In Asia, Pakistan and India. Malaysia. In fact, we have more Muslims now in Africa than Arab countries. Many people didn't know this. So you don't need to be an Arab to be a Muslim. Even though Quran was revealed in Arabic and Prophet Muhammad was an Arab, but it has nothing to do with Islam or Christianity or Judaism of someone. Therefore, Muslims are those who serve anyone. An American, an African, Indian, Pakistani, Russian, Chinese, who submit his will to the will of one God by obeying all the prophets is called a Muslim, regardless of your tribe and your background. So let us understand this. The difference between Muslims and Arabs. Point number 3. Who founded Islam? I think I answered that. Historians have done a very good job. I respect historians because it takes time. Some historians are being divorced by their wives because they have to travel a lot and they have to, I respect historians. But not every history is authentic. Some part of history are based on a theory of probability. It's hanging there. I think and I suggest and Any religious historian, most of them have said the following. When you mention Judaism, they say founded by Moses. When you mention Christianity, they say founded by Jesus. Of course, Jesus to us is called Isa. Isa, Jesus. In Africa, we call him Yesu. Yesu. Right? And they say that who founded Islam? They say Muhammad. And they have gone further to say Muslims are not called Muslims, but they are Muhammadans. We are not Muhammadans. And of course, according to Islam, Muhammad never founded Islam. Quran chapter 42, verse 13. When Prophet Muhammad was appointed as a prophet at age 40, the first messages which he received from God told him, شَرَعَ لَكُم مِّنَ الدِّينِ مَا وَصَّى بِهِ نُوحًا وَالَّذِي أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْكَ وَمَا وَصَّيْنَا بِهِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَمُوسَى وَعِيسَى أَنْ أَقِيمُوا الدِّينَ وَلَا تَتَفَرَّقُوا فِيهِ. That is Arabic Quran. Not Arabic Arab, that is Arabic Quran. Right. Meaning, the same religion which was given to Noah is the same religion which has been sent down to you, Muhammad. And it is the same religion which was given to Abraham, Moses, and Jesus, that all of you together be firm and steadfast in a religion. This religion means a way that leads to God and do not be divided. So Muhammad realized that he's not the first boss in this office. Others were appointed and were assigned before him. So Muhammad never founded Islam based on this verse. When you say Islam, it reminds me of Adam. It reminds me of Abraham. It reminds me of Solomon, David, Jacob, Job, Joseph, coming down to Zachariah, John the Baptist. We call him Yahya in Islam. John, Yahya. Zachariah, we say Zachariah. Abraham, we say Ibrahim. Ishmael, we say Ismail. Isaac, we say Ishaq. Coming to Jesus, Isa, and then Prophet Muhammad. So Muhammad never founded Islam according to Islamic faith. Before him, Adam was there. Had I lived in the time of Adam, I would have followed Adam. Had I lived in the time of Moses, I would have been one of the children of Israel who were freed from slavery to the promised land. Had I lived in the time of Jesus, why not? I would have followed Jesus. And today, since Muhammad came after Jesus, according to Islamic teachings, I am following Muhammad, and I'm following Jesus, and I'm following Moses, and I'm following all prophets. This is the concept of faith and following prophets in Islam. Third point, I'm going to follow. Today I'm just a teacher, no preaching. Who is Allah? Again, some people have said that Allah is not a true God worshipped in the West. In America, in Britain, He's not a God worshipped in the East. He's not a God worshipped in Africa. Allah is a moon God. But God is God and Allah is not God. This is playing with words. We have to agree that Jesus, not being an American, He never spoke English. So then how did He call God? Please. Yahweh or Elohim or Jah or but you never said God. He said God. So should I say God is not God? Capital G. Should I say God the Almighty is not God? I say that is wasting time. You know why? These are petty issues that cannot bring people together. We have a lot of commonalities as human beings. We have a lot of commonalities as people who believe in God and differences. But some of us have promoted these little unreasonable things. So you have to say that God is only God and He cannot be called Mwenyezi Mungu in Africa. And then Africa will say the same, that God is never God. Why do you call God God? Why can't you say Mwenyezi Mungu? Then none of us believes in God, and then none of us has the name and attributes of God. If you go to Germany, they call God Gott. We agree? Gott. In Africa, they call God Mwenyezi Mungu, Mulungu, Nyasaye, Nyasaye. In America, the easiest that you can say is God, the Almighty. We call this God Allah, Ella, Elohim, as they called Him, Yahweh, on one condition, that we all refer these titles to one and only, who created heavens and earth, who gives life, who takes life, who controls our life, who controls everything. This is one God. So Allah is a name of God in Islam. When you have Islamic Quran translated in English or other language, they say God, the Almighty, it means one and only. Now this God has the following qualities. Because the Muslims are worshipping Muhammad, and this Muhammad is called Allah. That is not true. This God has 4 qualities. One, yani major qualities of many other qualities. One, that He is one and only. Qul huwallahu ahad. Muhammad is told, say, He is Allah, one and only. So we don't worship human being, we worship the creator of heavens and earth. Secondly, Allah is Samad. This God is a self-sufficient master. He stands in need of no one, and the contrary, of course, we stand in need of everything. We are sick and we need some medicine, and we sit down and we need to stretch ourselves, and we are hungry, so we have to take coffee just right there, right? And God is a self-sufficient master, that He doesn't need anything from anyone. That is why we ask Him and we worship Him. Lam yalid wa lam yulad. This God doesn't have a human nature of procreating babies. He begets not, nor was He begotten. وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. And there is nothing like unto God. Even though some attributes of God may be attributed to us, like we see and God is seeing, right? We are merciful, or we should be merciful, but God is the all-merciful, He's the all-seeing, He's the all-knowing. So we cannot match His attributes. This God is Al-Hayyu Al-Qayyum, ever-living, everlasting. He was, He is, and He will remain. But all of us, kullu man alayha fan, anything that is on this earth will be destroyed, will perish. The only one who will remain and who was God, the Almighty. So this is God that we worship, one God, the giver, the forgiver, the merciful, the compassion, the compassionate. We can attribute, these attributes to God until tomorrow. At the same time, even if we try, we cannot finish attributing these good attributes to God the Almighty. Who is Muhammad? Muhammad is a man who was born in Saudi Arabia. It wasn't Saudi Arabia those days. This is monarchy in Saudi Arabia called Saudi. This is Saudi family. But it was called Hijaz and Makkah. The city of Makkah. Muhammad was born in the year 570 AC after Jesus. 40 years later, Prophet Muhammad was appointed to be a prophet. Muhammad could convey the message for 23 years, having migrated from his birthplace Makkah to Medina, which is another holy city in Arabian Peninsula. He died having conveyed the message of Islam for 23 years. This is Muhammad. Was born, he lived, he conveyed the message, and he died. Does it make him not to be a prophet? Why did he die? I say, but Moses died. Abraham died. Joshua died. Solomon died. David died. Then we live to die. That is Muhammad. So I know, if you didn't know Muhammad, in 2 minutes you can know Muhammad. That is question number 5. Then I go to question number 6. The sources of Islam. Sources of Islam. Where do we get our teachings from? We have 2 main sources. Quran, which we believe to be a direct revelation sent down by God. Big portion of it was communicated by God through his angel Gabriel, who in Islam we know as the Holy Spirit in Islam. If you say Holy Spirit in Islam, Ruhul Qudus, wa ayyadnahu bi Ruhul Qudus, that is none else but angel Gabriel in Islam. Ruh, because he's a spirit, Al-Qudus, because of the honorable task assigned to him by God of transmitting his holy words to his prophets. This is how we understand the Holy Spirit in Islam. So Quran is the first source. It has 114 chapters. Every chapter in Quran starts with Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, in the name of God, the most merciful. In the name of God, the beneficent, the most merciful. All except one chapter, which is chapter 9. We will discuss Quran later. It is a revelation of guidance, light. It is a revelation which is meant not only for Arabs or Muslims, but for the whole world. We believe that in Quran, there are solutions for major problems that are affecting the world. You may say, but why Muslims are just suffering like others? I say, you see, there is Islam and there are Muslims. I say Islam has a solution, but Muslims may not have solution. Because they are human beings. They can kill, they can rape, they can commit adultery, just like any Christian can do that. Like any Jew can do that. Anyone can do that. I say Islam, we say Quran has the solutions of major problems that are affecting the world. Do your research. Another source of Islam is what is called Hadith or Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad, traditions of Prophet Muhammad, his lifestyle. How do we understand this? Hadith or Sunnah is the explanation of the revelation. Many times Jesus addressed his congregation and they didn't understand him. And they had to ask him back, so, Master, but we were told this and that. Why are you? So he had to explain. That explanation is called Hadith. Tradition and teaching that explains the revelation. We have these 2 major sources. Prophet Muhammad told us that whoever follows them will never go astray. Of course, whoever followed Jesus would not go astray. Whoever followed Moses would not go astray. Moving faster. Number 7. Islamic principles. Islamic principles. One of the Islamic principles is oneness of God. We in Islam don't believe in 3 gods. We don't believe that God is divided. No, we believe that there is only one God. This God, for your information, I know that we have different churches and faiths here, but I don't have enough time to quote all these books. Of course, I didn't read all, but when I read Old Testament and New Testament of any version of the Bible, whether the Jerusalem version, Douai version, Catholic Bible with 73 books, or King James version, or Revised Standard version, or New World Translation of the Greek original scripture of Jehovah's Witness, of course, or modern Bible, or African version. We have African version introduced by Desmond Tutu in South Africa, 2004 to 6. I find that the concept of this God has been established, oneness of God. Genesis 1:1, in the beginning, God, capital G, created heavens and earth. Book of Isaiah, chapter 44, chapter 45, 46. God says that I am the Alpha and Omega. I'm the first and I'm the last. I am the creator. I created everything myself and no one helped me. I am God. Moses is told in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6, verse 10 commandments, you remember? One of the commandments is, you shall have no any other God besides me, except me, in other words. When Jesus came in the book of Matthew, Luke, Mark, John, Jesus was asked a question in the book of Mark, chapter 12, verse 27 to 29. Master, good teacher, of all the commandments, which one is the most important commandment? And Jesus said, Hear, O Israel, Shema Israel, Elohim Adonai, Elohim Ahad. I don't know if I tried to speak Hebrew today, but maybe I put one and one together. If I'm wrong, forgive me. But translation is, Hear, O Israel. The most important commandment of all is this, that the Lord, our God, the Lord is only one God. When Prophet Muhammad came later, he was told that there is only one God, Shahid Allah, Quran, chapter 3, verse 19, that God himself bears witness. Annahu la ilaha illa huwa, that there is no true God except him alone. Muhammad never claimed any divinity, he never claimed to be worshipped, nor did he tell anyone that he is God. Angels bear the same witness and people of knowledge. So we believe in oneness of God, one of the principles. Second principle, oneness of mankind. Are we different? What makes you different from me? What makes me different from you? In Quran, chapter 49, verse 13, God says, O mankind, Ya ayyuhan nas, O mankind. In this verse, God doesn't say, O Muslims, no. O mankind, inna khalaqnakum min dhakarin wa untha. Verily, I created you from a man and a female, Adam and Eve. وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارَفُوا. And I made you into different nations and tribes for one reason, that you may know each other. That's for identity. Oh, that is my American sister. My American sister. That is my Japanese brother. That is my African cousin. This is how we should view and see and perceive each other. Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. The most honorable amongst all of you is the one who tries his or her level best to be dutiful to God, the Almighty. And we should not say, I'm better than you, because God is saying in Quran, فَلَا تُزَكُّوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. Do not purify yourselves. Do not elevate yourself. Do not give yourself preferences that are better than you. هُوَ أَعْلَمُ بِمَنِ اتَّقَى. God himself knows who fear him most. So Quran also believes in the oneness of mankind. And also third principle is oneness of messengers. We in Islam, لا نفرق بين أحد من رسله. We do not differentiate between prophets. As soon as you say, I don't believe in Jesus, Muslims tells you that you are not a Muslim. You haven't submitted to God. As soon as you say that I don't believe in Moses, Muslim will tell you that I'm very sorry. As soon as you say that I only follow Muhammad, that is not Islam. Therefore, we believe in the oneness of all prophets. As I mentioned, from Adam, Noah, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, until Prophet Muhammad, that they were all sent by God. And let me tell you, in Islam, when you talk about heroes, those who fought and those who sacrificed, we say that the one who sacrificed most is none else but prophets. They are our heroes, number one. Then comes to their disciples. Then comes to those who are working for God. And then we say all human beings are equal in the sight of God. 3 more points. We Muslims, we have pillars of Islam. We have pillars of faith. We have pillars of perfection. Pillars of Islam are 5. Believing in one God and only one God. Allah only. We Muslims are performing, we are praying 5 times every day. This is part of compulsory prayer, but then we pray 24 hours also. This type of prayers is designed to remind a human being that he has to be thankful to God. He should not be diverted by worldly material things from the Creator who created him. It helps you to fulfill the purpose of life. It has to be performed, these 5 prayers, in a specific form with specific words of prayer. So I think you have seen Muslims, you have seen us. We stand still, right? We bow down, and then we stand still again, and we say, Allahu Akbar, God is the greatest, with our faces unto the ground. We have seen this. So then we say, don't you see Muslims are different from us? Yes, we don't pray like this. When we walk in our churches, we show the sign of cross. Or we stand still and close our eyes and we pray. Don't you see them different from us? I know that I'm the least in knowledge amongst you here. And of course I'm young, so I feel shy to address elders with gray hair. Keep your hope alive. You may live longer. The point is this. Sometimes we deny the facts which are established simply because it hasn't reached us. You may have it right in your pocket, but you reject it. Did Jesus pray like this? No, Jesus didn't pray like that. That is the quick answer. But please read the Bible again. There is none among the prophets, but he prostrated like we are prostrating today. Homework. The book of Matthew chapter 26, verse 36 to 40, when Jesus was at the Garden of Gethsemane, you remember? He told his disciples, Peter and 2 sons of Zebedee, wait here while I go there and pray. He went a little further and fell on his face unto the ground and prayed. Jesus did this. Sorry. Jesus did this. Moses did this. Abraham did this. For your information, read the book of Nehemiah, chapter 8, verse 4 to 8. You will find that they even did it in a congregation. So it is not new. I'm following Jesus. I'm following Moses. If you don't do it in the church, this is something else. But I say Jesus did it, I'm doing it. We pay zakah, charity. Compulsory charity in Islam. Moses paid it, Jesus gave it, and we are commanded to give it. There is no way that we cannot promote charity in one way or another in the society. God blesses some with extra. This extra is not yours. You take what is yours and you transfer the rest to other communities. That is how it works. The best way of eradicating poverty is when you start opening your heart towards your needy brother all over the world, from America with homeless to where people are fighting and people have been killed, to poor, so-called third or 10, how do you call it? Because we have developed and developing and undeveloped, so we have this third world. Right? At least do something. I don't know if this is very true, third world, second world, but because these worlds have diamond, these third worlds. And they have gold and they have petrol, but they're still third world. God knows. Food for thought. Anyway, we believe in eradicating poverty by sharing. We should not be selfish. We are fasting in the month of Ramadan. We were just fasting some days back. Jesus fasted, right? Moses was fasting, and I'm advising you to fast at least one day in your life. You need to deprive yourself of certain things. It helps you to realize the purpose of life. It helps you to feel what others are feeling. It softens your heart. It trains you to behave. Because some of us don't know what poverty is. Some of us don't know how to deprive themselves. And of course, this has put us in a lot of problems. With recession, it is because we overspent. Recession, we budgeted with what was never in our pocket. We never lived according to our means. And you know, with commercial and announcements, you know, nowadays you don't even need to pay a deposit to buy a car. You can just come and send your name and you know everything is there. Therefore we have to fast. And lastly, Muslims are performing pilgrimage. The wisdom is we meet together. It reminds us that we are all equal in the sight of God, male and female. We have to meet together, and it reminds that we all belong to one world. When I see you, you see me. You have to see your brother, you have to see your cousin. Faith, of course, we believe in one God. We believe that God created angels. We believe that God sent down His revelation, the form of words, which are in the form of books. We believe in all prophets. We believe on the last day of judgment, that after this life there is new life. And each one of us is answerable, and God will ask you questions as to how did you live your life in this world. And we believe that God has predestined everything good and bad. Perfection is another pillar, that always lead your life or serve God as if you see Him. Even though we don't see Him, but you must always see that God is ever watcher over you. Before you think of the government, before you think of prison, before you think of police officer, think of God. It will help you to live a human life. If you don't have God in mind, what do you have? You will have to break any law. Your own law, government's law, family law, because you don't have God. You don't connect yourself to God who is all-seeing. So this is needed from us. I conclude with what is our relationship with non-Muslims in general. This has disturbed many people. Because when you watch some, should I call them, media in general, and you find these Muslims saying Takbir, kill them all, right? Bombard them all. Destroy America. Please, without compromising, this is not Islam. Those are some individuals, just like among Christians, who say that Muslims are in America to take over. What is our number? Because America is based on democracy, right? And if it is based on democracy, then you have to go through voting process. So how many Muslims are in America to vote against all Americans? No, they are here to... These are hate preached by some Muslims, by some Jewish and some Christians and some atheists and some pagans and some non-Muslims. This is not right. This is how Islam commands me to treat every human being on earth, every animal, every creation. Quran chapter 60 verse 8. لا ينهاكم الله عن الذين لم يقاتلوكم في الدين. That God does not forbid you from treating with the kindness and generosity those non-Muslims who do not fight you, those non-Muslims who do not kick you out of your homes. They don't wage war against you. Treat them with all kindness and generosity. Treat them with justice. And because God likes and He loves those who establish justice on earth, even if it is against themselves. So there is no place where Islam says, if you live in America, come to America, and then after making some money, start fighting Americans. This is not right. We are taught to respect people's culture. We may not agree with some, like you may not agree with some in Islam, but it remains that we have to respect one another. We have to promote tolerance. We have to persevere. We have to be patient with one another, because we are one family. Message of Islam. If I put it down, I think you know that it is now. The message of Islam is as follows. Wal asr. God said by time, Innal insana lafi khusr. Verily, mankind is in loss, total loss. Except people with four characteristics. Illa alladhina amanu, except those who believes in one God. The first message of Islam. All mankind believe in God. Wa amilu salihat, and they do good, righteous deeds. Faith alone does not take you to paradise. Jesus condemned those who say that I just believe, but they didn't act upon their faith. This is the problem with Jewish, this is the problem with Christians, this is the problem with Muslims. That we believe and we promote belief without promoting action. Jesus said in the book of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 21, not everyone who calls me Lord, Lord will inherit the heaven. That is Jesus, not me. But only those who do what my Father in heaven wants them to do. Doing after believing. faith without action or action without faith is dead, according to the Bible. Exact teaching of Islam, that you believe in God and you follow the commandments of God, which establishes equality and justice for all. وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ, and they advise one another to follow, adhere to the truth. وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ, and they advise one another to be patient and tolerant with one another. I think this is what I had for you today. Yes, this is what I had. So the floor is yours. I like to save 2 minutes for my host here. Thank you very much.
Our audio system is a little unpredictable, and I don't have a wireless mic to take out into the audience, but Imam Shafi would be glad to welcome any questions that you might have, and we really thank you for this initial part of the introduction to Islam this morning, Imam. So would anybody have any questions that would like to ask the Imam Shafi? Yes, Bob in the back.
My question is, what does Islam think about the relationship of the one God, Akhenaten, created in 2000 or so BC in Egypt?
This is very tough, as I say.
Can you repeat the question, please?
The question was from the back concerning Egypt and Akhenaten. How does Islam address the idea of
One God in Egypt history, 2000 BC.
one God in Egypt history, 2000 BC?
I want to say this. According to Islam, Islam has this to say about God. And I think this may suffice. هو الأول, that he is the first. The first here is known in Islam as وَلَيْسَ قَبْلَهُ شَيْءٍ. Before him there was none. وَهُوَ الْآخِرُ, and this God will be the last to remain. وَلَيْسَ بَعْدَهُ شَيْءٍ, and after him there is nothing. God in Islam is not God of a season, not God of a year. He created season and he created year. Our belief may vary, our belief may differ, time to time, period to period, but it remains that God doesn't change. Therefore, if we say God of 2000 BC, for example, or God of 570 in Makkah, when Muhammad was sent, or God before Muhammad, God of Jesus, we say that this God has been there, he is there, and he will remain to be there. This is what I can say now. Normally in Islam, we don't go with God of. God of, he is our God, he created everything, he is there, he was there, he will remain to be there. This is the concept of God, and this is what I can say for now. Yes. Yes.
Carol, to the right there. Don't speak loud, please.
What percentage of our population is Muslim in the United States? Or how many do you think there are?
I remember the famous Obama's address in Egypt, if you remember. He addressed the Islamic world, he was in Egypt. He addressed African continent in Ghana, if you remember. Of course, I've been following because I'm from Kenya, and of course, maybe I'm related to Obama. Walking to the State House, right? Obama said that Muslims are up to 7 million. But Muslims are disputing this statement. Because yesterday I received a new Muslim. 1 month ago we received not less than 10 Muslims. So you can imagine these are not included in. We say that we are not less than 10 Muslims in the United States. We are not less than that. I mean, we said that we are not less than 10 million in the United States. And I think this makes more sense. We are coordinating our activities and our programs, and whenever we talk, we find that it's not only 7 million, but we have, and you know we have to respect the president, of course. Because he may ask you, this is an official report, where did you get yours? Then I don't have an answer. But this is what we say. From 7 million to 10 million makes sense.
We'll go on each side of the room, try to be fair about this. So, the gentleman back there.
I have a question regarding Islam. For people that might believe in maybe not a divinity, as you described it, something almost personal with some creator out there, whose beliefs might be more in the interconnectivity of the universe and the evolution, and we're here on Earth, but there's a lot of stuff going on out there. Is there room in Islam for people to have a broader view, even more of a Buddhist view of God is in here and heaven is on earth and you created? Are you accepting in Islam people that have a maybe broader view of things like that?
Thank you for this question. Are we accommodating, are we accepting others who do not believe in God, the divine God that we've been referring to? I think there are two different, and let me add another point. Do we accept? This is a question, I will answer that. And then second part of it is, do we compromise our belief in God with them? Accepting, yes, we accept everybody. I quoted a verse in Quran, chapter 49, verse 13, where God says, "O mankind, verily I created you from male and female. And I made you into different nations and tribes to know each other." For identity. Right. So we accept, we accommodate. We are encouraged to live as a family. We are encouraged, because Walmart is just one. Smith is also one. Gas that we are using is, right. We are human beings, we breathe the same air, we enjoy the same heat from the sun. Winter and summer comes and we are in America, so we accommodate one another. And we have to be kind and generous to one another. And we have to respect people's opinion, right? Because each one is entitled to his or her own opinion. Islam has nothing to do with that. You have freedom to choose. Because it's Quran, in chapter 2, God says, "La ikraha fi din," there is no compulsion in religion. So I think this answers the first. We respect everyone. But the second part of, do we reconcile? I will say, according to Islam, when we mention Abraham, Moses, Jesus, you will find that there was always a bit of opposition between him and those who didn't believe in God the Almighty that he preached. Or he was perceived as an opponent, because he invited people to worship one God, but other people believed in other gods. Moses, right in during his time, amongst his followers, did they come up with a calf and they started worshiping? But Moses didn't recommend that, nor did he accept it, he didn't accommodate it. So prophets had a principle that we are appointees of God and we are inviting people to God, so believe in God and obey us. This has been the trend to be followed by all prophets. This has been the mission of all prophets. Quran chapter 16 verse 36, God says, وَلَقَدْ بَعَثْنَا فِي كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ رَسُولًا, and indeed we sent to every nation a messenger. Every nation means some believe in ancestors, some worship women, some worship men, some worship cows, some worship snakes. But these prophets had a mission in this community, just inviting people without forcing them, أَنِ اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ, worship one God, the creator of heavens and earth, وَاجْتَنِبُوا الطَّاغُوتَ, and avoid any other thing worship besides God. Did they force them to faith? No. So yes, they accommodated them, but they didn't compromise the fact that people have to worship one God. This is what I can say.
I'll go to this side. We only have time for a few more questions because the main service will be getting out shortly. Yes, in the back on the right this time.
What do you believe would happen to a person who does all kinds of good deeds but doesn't believe in God? What would happen in the afterlife to that person?
our belief is this, that whoever does good deeds and doesn't believe in God, God will reward him in this world. Because he or she only believes in this world. This is what Quran says. If you live in this world and you believe that this is my life, and you don't believe in hereafter, then every good thing God will reward you in this world. In many ways, God rewards people. Right, health that He bestows upon you. Right, wealth that He bestows upon you. But we say that since you don't believe in the hereafter, if God brings you there, then you will have no reward. Because you don't even believe in it. Man kana yuridu hadha dunya, nu'tihi minha. Whoever wants a good life of this world, God says that He gives. That is why wealth is not given only to people who believe in God. Wealth is given to everybody. Health is given to everybody. Winter comes, summer comes, to everybody. But those who believe in the hereafter, definitely God has kept what they sent forward for them. So this is what Quran says.
I guess I didn't quite understand. Well, people, do they have a chance of getting to heaven, quote unquote?
Unless they believe in heaven.
Okay, they have to believe
God
in
gives
it.
what you deserve, what you want, what you want. If I'm not employed at a company, tell me if I deserve to earn. End of the month. Please.
Okay.
Paint him the green and he will live.
Was the status of women better or worse before Muhammad?
The status of women was worse before Muhammad. Worse. Because a woman was a tool to be used by anybody. Arabs, not all Arabs, married their stepmothers forcefully as soon as their father passed away. A woman had no say. They buried a woman alive. They didn't kill, no. They didn't shoot, there were no guns. They buried women, especially daughters, young girls, alive. Your own daughter, you dig a ground and then you force her inside. What is this? When asked, they said, we are just afraid of economy. How are we going to feed these women? And again, if I raise a woman, when she grows up, somebody else would come and, take her away from her. But when Prophet Muhammad came, not with his message, but the message of God, the status of woman was raised immediately, such as burying them alive was addressed. وَإِذَا الْمَوْءُودَةُ سُئِلَتْ بِأَيِّ ذَنْبٍ قُتِلَتْ. He was told to tell them that when they buried innocent girls, will be brought in the court of God, and they will be asked, for what crime were you killed? A woman and a man. God says, "Man amila salihan min dhakarin aw untha." Whoever does good, whether she is a male or a female, wa huwa mu'minun, on condition that she believes in God, falanuhyiyannahu hayatan tayyiba, we will give both of them good life in this world. And on the day of judgment, وَلَنَجْزِيَنَّهُمْ أَجْرَهُمْ بِأَحْسَنِ مَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ, we will reward them with the best reward based on whatever they did. So when it comes to good righteous deeds, Islam doesn't segregate. When it comes to faith, you believe, I believe, Islam doesn't segregate. When it comes to duties and roles and responsibilities, Islam doesn't segregate. But I think the world have misunderstood women's rights in Islam, because we only sit on rights, but I think we need to step further. We need to do more research and say, rights alone is never rights, is never fulfilled without roles, duties, and responsibility. Therefore in Islam, and I don't want you to talk to me about it, I want to request you that you walk into any mosque and you talk to any Muslim woman about her rights, her status. I want you to hear from horse's mouth. I may defend and say this and that, but I'm not a woman. But when you talk to Muslim women, have 10 of them and talk to them about their rights. Are you okay? Are you treated well? I wish if I had time. If you invite me another time, I would like to address women in Islam. I really want to address women in Islam. I'm just afraid I'm married in Kenya. But when I address women in Islam in every congregation, young girl says, do you have a chance for me? And I tell them, no, I'm married in Kenya. That is why I've been avoiding addressing this topic. Yes, no? Women status women have been elevated in Islam. We have some political issues, like in Saudi Arabia, women should not drive. That is not Islam, that is Saudi government, as government. A woman has every right to drive in Islam. This is what I can say.
They have brought, Imam Shafi and some of his friends have brought some copies of the Quran that are on the Social Justice Council table on the left corner. And if you would like a copy, we'd love you to have one. The main service will be getting out here in just a few minutes. However, I'm hoping that Imam Shafi would like to stay around for a few minutes to meet our ministers and also to meet some members of our congregation. Do you have time to stay for a bit? At 12? He's a man of action. But let's thank Imam Shafi for yes, do you want to get out of the
Yes.
Okay.
Can I just have a photo with you? That when I go to Africa, I remember these wonderful places and wonderful. We may meet in Africa one day, and you are welcome to Africa.
I would just like to tell you this congregation donates a lot of money, thousands of dollars, for children to attend school in Kenya.
Thank you.
And it's been a major project.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for my country. Thank you for the whole world. Keep it up. God will reward.
This has been a wonderful experience. I think it's a great idea to get a picture before we leave. So
If I
here we
can
go.
have a
الصبح بدا من طلعته والليل دجى من وفرته है नूर साहर चेहरे से तेरे और शब की रौनक जुल्फों से अल्लाहु 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 अल्लाह अल्लाहु 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 अल्लाह कंजुल करमी मौला النعمي هادي الأمم لشريعته नेमत का हज़ीना है